So what's up, Sarah?
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad, you?
Not too bad. Just in quarantine.
How's the boredom going?
Not so well. I'm like dying to get out of the house now. Yeah,
Have
not great.
you done any training or anything at home?
Yeah, I've done a bit of running. We have some of the kettlebells and stuff at home. My brother has a bike set up in the shed, so doing a bit of stuff. But it's obviously not the same as training away up in the club.
Have you been hitting pads? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Not too much actually. Doing all the other stuff. But we must get back into doing a bit of hitting pads. It's different though, at home, like we just end up messing. Rather than being up in the environment in the club when you're up there to train. It's hard when you're outside your back garden.
Yeah, like I find even though it's hard to, well, I find anyway, it's hard to get off the couch. It's like you keep going,
Yeah.
I'll go and train there now in 10 minutes and then it's like to that 10 minutes, another 15 minutes. And then it's like, you kind of go, the day's gone and you haven't got off the couch.
Yeah, I'm finding the same. Like some days now I'll do loads of stuff. Like, I'm running, I'll do some of the bike, I'll do other things. And other days I'm just like, yesterday, I don't think I did anything. Went for a walk. It's like, yeah, finding a motivation then is hard sometimes.
Yeah, I find like even it's like getting out of bed in the morning. It's like, I can't now get up to go training on the have to wait. It has to be a 5 now or something like that.
I know, I'm the same. Yeah, literally.
I was getting up and going to the club is like, well, I have to get up and go someplace. So then you're there then, so you might as well train.
That's it. And then when you have a time scheduled, like, I do try schedule times in, but sure, I'm never listening to myself. But when you have a time schedule for the club, like, I train at 1 or you train whatever, like, you're just there and you're there to do the work. But then at home, I'm just like, look, it's dinner time now in an hour. I'll wait till after dinner. And then, then it's movie time and then, bedtime then after that.
What you make of Euros getting cancelled? Do you think we'll get to actually compete?
I don't think so. Like, I don't think it'll go ahead this year. I'm finding it hard to believe that it will. I kind of like, beforehand, like months or two ago, like I was hoping that it would still go ahead. And then, do you remember, was it Norway? They pulled out and I was like, oh, this is it now. It's definitely not going to go ahead. And then we found out a few days later, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't the news I wanted to hear, but I think everyone kind of knew that it wasn't really going to go ahead.
There was kind of a feeling at that squad session. I felt like that.
There was.
People were training hard, like, but it was still just kind of a feeling that, like, it's probably not going to happen. Yeah, like you said.
That's it, yeah. And like I was asking the coach and the managers, and sure they couldn't tell you either. But like I just wanted to know. It was the unknown that I was like, just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same even for Dublin though. It was like, well, are you going to go ahead with that tournament like next week or the week after or not? Like, are we?
That's it, yeah. Now River Valley, my club, they did pull out of it. They said that they weren't going to go before it was cancelled. So that was another thing. Then I was like, oh God, if Dublin's not going ahead, like that's in like our own country, like how is Euros going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see, like, it was after the squad session, I was kind of thinking like, with the transfer some money and stuff and for deposits, and then it was like, and then you're seeing all sport has been cancelled in Slovakia for 14 days. That's what I was like, it's definitely
gone now. I know. It was awful news, really. Like, something that you look forward to. Definitely, like, for me anyways, once I finish the championships, like I start thinking about the next one straight away. So I have been thinking about it since, when's the last one? October. So then, like, hearing that was gone, it was just like, oh. But sure, look, what can you do? Sorry?
Do you think the World Cup will happen?
I don't know. Sure, when's that? That's October. That's another few months away. I actually don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it will.
No, like, I don't think it's going to get much better between, like, well, I'm hoping it'll get better. But, like, I doubt it'll get miraculously better that, like, all countries will open up and, like, let people come in and out. And especially with a sporting event like that, sure, how many people go to that, a World Cup?
Well, yeah, it could be up on 2,000, yeah.
That's it, so, like, it's huge.
I think as well, even, it's grand to say things will be back to normal come, like, October, that you could host an event, but when are the clubs going to open up again? When will you be able to train again? So you're not going to go and train?
It. No, not at all. If I'm not going to be doing my normal training schedule that I do before a championships, there's no way, or even a World Cup, there's no way that I'd feel ready.
Yeah, so you're not going to go. So then it won't be, if everybody's feeling the same, then it won't be a World Cup. So
no, that's it. Yeah, no one's going to pay. No one's going to pay the money.
Yeah, exactly.
To go over and to lose, or just not to perform your best.
Yeah, not to be prepared. Like, so yeah, I'm doubtful there'll be much competing at all this year.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think like traveling for everyone is kind of like not going to happen at all till 2021, realistically.
Every tournament will be big then, Docs. Everybody will be mad to get back.
Yeah, it will. Everybody will be there, yeah.
So like, I think even we might go like, I think I kind of know this story really anyway, but maybe a lot of other people wouldn't. So like, how did you get it started in Taekwondo?
So I don't really have like a very interesting story. My older brother, he just started with a friend, I think. And then when I became, I think 5 or 6, I'd say I just was like, Mom, let me join. And then that was it really. I joined and then haven't looked back.
It's kind of in the family, like everybody does it.
That's it, yeah. And especially my family, like I think there's 8 people in my family, and I think at one stage like everyone was doing Taekwondo, including my mom and dad. Like, no, obviously they're just like, no, keep them fit. But yeah, everyone in my family would have done Taekwondo at one point.
Load up the car and off to training.
Yeah, in the big van. Did you remember the big van?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
9-seater, yeah.
And like, did you do any other sports then?
I did a bit of GAA with the club in like Ashburn where I live, but like it was more so just like on the nights I wasn't in Taekwondo, I'd go up and join my friends. Like they were all massive into GAA, so I suppose just to keep in with them, I did a bit of that. For sure, Taekwondo always took over. Like anytime I had extra training or if I had a competition coming up, like I didn't do it. I did a bit of Irish dancing, but apart from that, it's just basically been Taekwondo from the day one. Yeah.
And you got in competing straight away then, wouldn't you? Like, I think.
Like when I started Taekwondo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So back then, I think was white belts they were allowed to compete, were they? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, they were. I competed as a white belt. Cork Open.
Yeah. So I think from the get go, I think I've been competing. Now I don't really have much memories back then, anyways. But I do know, like my mom and dad, they've been very supportive. Like they brought me to every single competition, so I've definitely been to all of them. And the other memories like I have would be just bringing my trophies into my school teachers, but I don't actually remember competing in the competitions, which is sad. But
would you go around to all the other classes then and show off?
Yeah, you just go to the principal and I get a lollipop. Just make my day.
Yeah, when I was like, if anybody ever won anything, you were like, oh, can I go around and show my medals? You'd knock on the door like, oh, I won this.
Yeah,
they always
I did the same.
It was great when you if you were part like of the soccer team or the hurling team, because like everybody on the team from the classes wanted to go.
Yeah, I got to go. Yeah.
One day I was there on my own, so I was like, it was never really like.
Yeah.
I did it maybe once or twice, and I was like, this actually isn't a bit of crack, like, because everybody's then is asking, oh, what's this Taekwondo? And you're 8 and 9.
Oh yeah, I know. Try to explain, you don't even know. I still don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, it can be hard. Yeah, it's like, is it like karate? That's usually the question. Like,
I hate that question, and I don't even know karate. Like, it's not nothing against karate. I don't even know what like how different or similar karate is. But I'm just like, no, it's Taekwondo. Taekwondo.
Yeah. Like, would you have preferred, like, when you were, do you think, I know you said you can't remember much as a colour belt, but did you prefer patterns or sparring? Like, was there one that you preferred over the other, or always mainly a sparrer?
Yeah, like I think sparring was always my main thing, but I actually was very good at patterns when I was a colour belt. Like I used to win double golds a lot when I was younger, but I do think that pattern or sparring was my favourite out of them all. Yeah.
You won the World Cup for patterns, didn't you?
I did actually, yeah. When was that? That was 2008, was it? Italy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I won Hwarang. I love that pattern. Maybe that's why I love it, I'm not sure. But I won the World Cup with that, yeah. That was good.
That would have been a big section as well, wouldn't it?
It would have been huge. I do remember, like I couldn't tell you how many rounds I got through, but I actually get a picture of the ring. It was up in the corner, and I just remember being surrounded by so many girls. It was huge. Yeah.
In the tent.
In the tent, yeah, the big white thing. Yeah, do you remember that?
That was nuts, yeah.
Yeah. I was actually asking my dad that yesterday. I was like, Dad, do you remember if I got through any rounds all in sparring? And he couldn't tell me. So I don't even know if I lost first round or if I got through any rounds sparring. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I remember walking into that tent, like the when we first got there, and it was empty, and I was like, oh, this is kind of class. And like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't realize like how many people were going to be there and how much of a nightmare it was going to be really to get around, and how warm. Like,
Yeah. Because that would have been my first big competition. Like, no, Mr. Curley, that's my instructor. He would have brought us away to England as we were growing up to a few competitions, but obviously they were never as big. So the World Cup in Italy was my first, like, major one, and it was huge. It was great, but it was completely different to anything that like I've ever seen or done before.
Yeah, I was saying that was my first time. I was only just black belt. I graded the black belt in the summer, so it was my first kind of. That was actually I think I did maybe one tournament in the lead up, so it was like only my second tournament as a black belt. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it was like first bit one that big and first kind of one as a black belt. Yeah, it's like
I know
it's not different. A cork open, like, you know.
No, far from a cork open.
It's not. Yeah, it was a bit different to Little Island, you know. So
yeah.
But yeah. So when did you get a black belt then?
So I got my black belt. Argentina was my first black belt competition. Well, away anyways. So that was in 2009. So I would have got it maybe in 2008 Christmas time. I created at Christmas anyways. So I was 13, and then I was 14 in 2009. I went to the World Championships. So yeah, 13. All them years ago.
Yeah. Then when you got the black belt, like, had you thought about going straight onto the national team?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like, especially for me in River Valley, like, there's always so many guys ahead of me. That was kind of just like the thing you did. It was like you got your black belt, you tried out for the Irish team, and then you got on the national team, and then you fought. So I think from a young age, that's kind of just what I wanted to do, was just get the black belt and then just fight for Ireland. So yeah, that was always the goal.
Yeah, but I suppose like at that time, it was like we weren't able to get on the team.
But no, I know.
But we nearly really didn't. We weren't overly affected because we weren't really black belts either. So it was kind of like
when
we got black belt, it was like oh, you could just go straight to the national team, pretty much. Yeah, they weren't really affected, but yeah, that could have been a challenge. Like around that time, I didn't even really know there was much difference between a World Championships or a World Cup. Like, I just thought like it was pretty much all the same to some degree. You know, it was only kind of
I probably was the same. Like, you just think it's like a world. I think that's what you just thought back then. It was like kind of the same. But yeah. No, once I turned black belt, then that was just, Mr. Cooley, I think, was just like, okay, we're going to go for this thing called the Irish team. So I was like, okay, let's go.
And so, like, had you expected to get onto the team straight away? Because 14, it's young enough, really. And then
no, I don't think I expected. Like, I had high hopes, obviously. But again, I can't remember if I had many people that I had to compete against to get the section. I can't remember. Like, you're young and you want it, but I don't know if I expected it. But then I do remember, like, when I got told I was on it, like, I was over the moon. You're 14 and you're on the Irish team. Like, what else would you want? Yeah. But no, I definitely don't think I expected it. But it was great then when it happened. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. I say I might have had to fight one or two people to get the spot. Because in Ireland, like, the sections aren't massively huge anyways.
Yeah.
My whole way growing up, like, I've never had, the most competitive might have been when I was senior, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but all the way up junior level, I never had too many competitors in my section. So I never had that. I kind of always, not that I knew, but like I was always only 1 or 2 fights away.
Yeah. Like that does, especially with 2 spots, and then it was like changed to 3 spots for, I suppose, junior, and then even at senior.
Junior, that's it, yeah.
With 2 spots as well, it's like you kind of knew you were going to fill. You were going to fill up with them, like there wasn't going to be an issue.
No. Especially with the numbers in Ireland, like, no, they're not huge. So you kind of, apart from now, like, the numbers are huge now, especially for, like, like the junior boys. Them sections are insane. There's so many compared to what they would have been, I think, years ago.
Yeah, but I think even sometimes they kind of narrow themselves down. It's kind of the kind of cream rises to the top, and there's maybe only 3 left.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's 4 people. There's maybe one person who loses out, and so then everybody else can tend to drop off. Sometimes they might still compete in Ireland, but I don't think they'd really like maybe push for the team.
No, I think you're right there. Yeah.
How did you find Argentina then? Was it an experience?
Argentina, yeah, that was insane. You weren't at that one, were you?
No, I'm glad I missed that one. I was like, would it like? like I didn't think much about going for the team around that time. I didn't overly know it was like a thing massively, really.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go to Argentina. It was then after that then I went for Sweden. So yeah, but I'm good that I
Yeah.
missed Argentina.
Argentina was insane. Like the arena was huge. And I remember just the Argentinian fans, they were insane as well. And sure, I was only 14, so I didn't really know what was going on either. And like it was on a different level to the World Cup in Italy as well. It was much bigger, and I just remember being so loud and noisy. And again, I can't really remember competing. I do remember that so I just did individual sparring. I think I did team patterns as well, but I didn't do any individual patterns. I got a draw in my first round, and then I lost. So that's as far as I got in Argentina. But the whole experience was it was crazy.
Do you think it had to kind of go, all right, that's the level I have to get to if I want to win and be successful in the sport?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Now, again, like, I don't really remember if like I said, I just kind of lost, and then I kind of was like, okay. And like, I don't think I remember sticking around watching the rest of my section. Like, I was still very young. It was kind of like, oh, I'm just after losing. So I think it's definitely like, obviously the hunger grew then. But yeah, no, it definitely did. It definitely made me want to win more and push harder. But again, I was so young that I don't even think I knew what was going on, really.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of lost in a competition. I was like, oh, okay.
But did Luke Woods winning a gold medal kind of help as well?
Yeah, that was huge.
Back to the club.
Yeah, especially. So he was the first. Was he the first in Ireland that won?
No, Kieran Ryan won a gold medal in 2005.
Okay.
The first. So Luke was still only the second at the time.
Yeah, but now I wouldn't have known the other guy. So Luke for me was huge, especially because then he was in my own club. And I remember just coming home and like it was just such a huge deal. And then see that all happen in the club was like, oh my God, I want this. Like that's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, because like that, there wasn't many clubs who would have had that at the time. So
No, not at all. So yeah, it was special to have it in our own club, and then like something to aim for as well. Like it's like looked up to him. It's like, well, I want that now. He set the standard.
Yeah, but like even like I say, you had it in the club, like, but even there's people like kind of all around the country, kind of, because I know like I kind of looked at him, I like would have thought like, fuck, like that's the savage. Like, well, it's kind of a thing, just like, well, if he can do it, then why can't I? Or so
that's kind it. Yeah, for sure.
Just kind of says like, so. I think that is actually a big part. Him winning that gold medal was a big part in come 2017. I was being number one in the world, like, because like that.
Oh yeah.
Adam and that would have been on the team and seen him win. Like there was a lot of people who were on the team in 2017 who maybe were juniors around that time, seeing him win that gold medal, and would have given him a bit of inspiration and a bit of motivation to push on and think that we could win.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As you said, like once you see someone doing it, you're like, well, if they can do it, then like definitely the rest of us can.
Yeah. So then you got to Euros then in 2011.
2011.
That was a big one.
Oh, Slovakia. Yeah, that was my first gold. That was a good one. Yeah. Again, like I can't tell you how many matches I went through. Maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. It was minus 60. And that was my first goal. Yeah, that was a special one. Again, though, Ireland did quite well in that one altogether.
Yeah, we did.
Got 2 goals.
Even the team patterns and all went well.
Team patterns, yeah. I was on that as well. So that was a good competition. Yeah, my first one.
I remember it was an exciting final. The first point.
Oh, yeah, first point. Say that again.
Was it the last fight of the day as well?
It was. I remember. Yeah, I was in the corner, and everybody was just surrounding. I do remember both of us were exhausted. Like it was a sloppy fight, especially because it went into the extra minute, and then it went into first point. Like it was a sloppy fight, but it was very exciting, and it was mad that like everybody surrounded the ring.
Yeah.
But that was a good one.
I think you won it with a sidekick, wasn't it?
Sidekick, yeah.
Because Mr. Bully was in the chair, like on like front hand, and like anytime in training at the squads, if we practice first point, it was like what lands the most front hand. So he was telling it, and then all like.
But you know what? I think she went for the front hand, so I went for the defensive sidekick. So there you go.
Yeah. The German girl, wasn't it? Was it?
No, it was Ursa.
Oh,
did you?
But you fought against the the German girl in the earlier rounds, hadn't you?
Yeah, Rika, the German girl anyway. Yeah, I did. I think she might have been, was she my semi-final maybe, but it was definitely Ursa Slovenia in my final.
Yeah, I do. I remember those couple of matches. All right, yeah, they make for good excitement. Like,
I know, yeah. That was, it was mad. I like, they're actually on YouTube, and I hate watching back that final because it is the sloppiest fight ever. But just the atmosphere around that ring, it was insane.
Did you look back at yourself there now and think like, oh my god, I'd
how did I win?
No, I look back at it, oh my god, like if I fought myself from back then, I was like, I'd whoop myself. Like,
or like, the junior girls in my club, if they fought me back then, like, they definitely would beat me. Like, it's a different level now.
Yeah, I even have that, like, even not going back to that far, even to junior, like, but so I look back at like 2015 even, I'm like, oh my god, like,
I know, like, who is that in that ring when you're watching back?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just so embarrassing, aren't they? And you're just like, what was I thinking? But look, you learn.
Yeah, but
you get better.
If you were still winning, then it wasn't the worst.
That's it, I suppose. Yeah, that's true.
So, like, did you won the World Cup then as well as a junior?
Yeah, that was my last junior. That was in Brighton. That was my last one. That was good. Ended my junior on a high. Again, couldn't tell you how many rounds. I think it was a good few. So that was my last 60. Jen actually, my sister, she won as well. I think she won the fight before me. So she won gold and then I won gold. That was a good competition as well. Yeah. Right.
Did you find that hard to keep focused now, like her fighting before you and then having to go out and fight?
But what? That's happened 3 times now. So Brighton, Slovenia, Europeans that was only, when was that? Do you know what, actually, we went to this day 2 years ago is when we left to go to Slovenia. Do you know that?
I just seen that on Jenny's story, actually, yeah.
Yeah, she only told me that this morning. Isn't that mad? 2 years ago. But so it happened there as well. And then just in Bosnia. And it's always Jen's right before me and then I'm on. But no, I don't, like, I never watch her spar. I'm just kind of in my own little bubble. I let her go do her thing and then I go do mine.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, the Worlds in Ireland, with me, like, with me and the other 3 guys been in the finals, like, I was making sure, I was like, well, I can't watch, I don't want to get caught up in it or anything like that, like, and they're like just team and friends. It's like, so I'd imagine
it's hard. It is hard, especially like with Bosnia, because with Brighton, like, she was much younger, so we weren't like as close as we are now, so I wasn't that into it back then. And then with Slovenia, I think I was sparring my semis while she was on the final. So I couldn't look at all. And then in Bosnia, I was actually waiting on center stage as she was doing her final. So that was probably my toughest one not to look. I just remember kind of pacing up and down, and I'd check every maybe like 30, 40 seconds, just check the score, and then I'd look back around. Because it's hard, like, once you get caught up, and then once you get caught up, then you can't, like, take your eyes off it. So, that was tough. But then you just kind of have to put yourself in your own little bubble and just concentrate on you just for the next few minutes and then celebrate after, I suppose.
Yeah, because, like, watching and then you're getting all excited and, like, and then it's kind of, they're going, Hong Chong, like, I have to fight myself there now.
Yeah, that's it, because you're tense watching them, like, especially with your sister, like, you're tense. It's not just watching a fight. So it can take a lot out of you, and then, you can't lose concentration, so I try my best not to.
I get more worked up watching my sister than I do when I'm fighting.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I get very nervous for them. Very nervous for them.
You're sweating off. You have no control of the
No,
output.
You can't. Like, all you have to do is just watch. You can't change anything else. Yeah. So I do. I get you.
Did you find, so after that, like, did you find much of a bit of a hard transition to senior? Because you didn't medal straight away.
No, I didn't. So the first senior competition I had was the World Championships Benidorm. That was actually going well for me. I think it was in my 3rd fight. I was in the quarterfinals, and I don't know if you remember this, but you remember I was in the quarterfinals.
I do remember, actually.
Yeah. So there was like 9 seconds left, and I was winning, and then still to this day I don't know what happened, but I ended up getting like cut over my eyebrow. So my eyebrow split open, and the paramedics said I couldn't continue fighting. So that was really, really sad, because was my first senior world championships, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so close to medaling, which, you know, I just thought was amazing, but then obviously it wasn't meant to be. So that was quite tough. And then the next few after that, no, I didn't really get anywhere. I kept fighting, there was a Polish girl, Ilona, I can't remember her second name, but she was kind of on top at the time. Do you remember her? So I fought her in, what was after the World Championships? European Championships in Italy? I lost then, I can't remember too. But then I fought Ilona in Italy World Championships, and then again in Scotland. Both fights were very, very close. But no, she bet me, and then she was always on the podium, either gold or silver. So they were tough years. From like, you know, I didn't win a lot when I was junior, but like, you know, I won the gold in Slovakia, and then I won another gold in Brighton World Cup. So it's kind of like I was kind of up the top, and then like, you know, you're starting back at the bottom again. So it's kind of, it's not great. But you just kind of have to keep pushing on. And then I did realize that I was quite young. Not young, like I know when you're senior, like everyone's senior, but like, you know, I was at the bottom. So it's just like, give me another year or two. And then, yeah.
Did you
like,
train?
You know, it is hard.
Training. Did you train? Did you change much in terms of like your training? Because I don't know, for me, maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of seemed like that, you know, maybe around 2015, 16, I don't know, I kind of felt like, you know, maybe Paul took over a bit more, took over the training a bit more, and there was changes in the way you were training, and then it kind of, you seem to reap the benefits of that, and it seems like, you know, like Jenny has and Maeve has had some success as well, so it kind of seems like, I don't know, did much change in the training, or is that?
Yeah, so before then, Mr. Cooley, my instructor, would have done most of our training. And then, yeah, around that time, 2015, I'd say Paul King, so he's my coach now, and Luke Woods, they both kind of took over our training, and they kind of made up the plans. Like, still to this day now, I don't really plan out my training sessions. I kind of go train, and Paul plans out my sessions, and I'm just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. But definitely, no, they took over, and yeah, definitely, we've definitely benefited from it, all of us. I suppose we started weights. Maybe that was like one massive thing. I didn't do, well, Miss Creeley would have done some kettlebells and stuff, but definitely Paul and Luke introduced us to doing more weights. And then there might have been a bit more structure to our training sessions, more planned out. I'm not really sure, but yeah, definitely Paul took over, and then yeah, we've just done great since then.
Yeah, but do you feel like maybe the biggest change was it became more maybe personalized for?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So like, we'd all still train at the same time, but everything that we're doing is for like individuals, because sure, what I do is completely different to what Maeve does. Like, you know, we completely spar completely different. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that. It's more individualized, and then we've all definitely benefited from that.
Yeah. So like, what would a training schedule kind of look like now, like a training week?
So like, obviously so just before we heard about
a proper training week, like if we're training for a championship, not
yeah. So, but before like we started our like actual training schedule for the Europeans, we just worked a lot on strength work. So we're in the gym doing a lot of lifting weights, and then coming up to like, you know, the few weeks. See, Paul plans all this out, so it might be like 12 weeks out. We start off with so we'll continue with our strength work, but like, you know, a lot of speed work. Then we'll have like, you know, our technical days. So like, I might train with Paul myself, like, you know, different days of the week, and we just work on like, you know, what I want to work on, my techniques. Then we'll do repeats. So it's like, you know, a few weeks out, we start doing repeats. We did a few of them in squads. They're tough. What'd you say?
I love them.
Oh, you love them. I find them tough. And then we work towards.
Tough.
They're very tough.
But I find like it's tough when you're in it, like when you're hitting like the last round, and you're kind of and you've done 3 or 4 like overall ones. It's tough, like, but
it is
kind of like, and you recover, but you're like, all right, that was good. No, I enjoyed that.
It is. It's great, and you know, I love seeing the progress. I love writing things down. So like, you know, when you do it the first time, and I don't know, like, you might only do it for 7 seconds on or whatever it is, and you're absolutely dead, and then you look back maybe 3 weeks on and you look back to what you're doing now, to what you did, you're like, oh my God, like, you know, I'm after progressing massively. So like, the repeats definitely work. Then we go on to do we spar every Tuesday in River Valley. So I'm very lucky, I've got so many different spars over there, junior boys, junior girls, senior men and senior females. So we've got so many fighters over there, so that's great. And then we also do our rounds with Paul. So Paul wears the the big shield, and then it's like simulating sparring really. So they're also tough. We've actually before Bosnia we introduced using the assault bike and then going in to do a bit of sparring afterwards or around. So that was tough. Great but tough.
The assault bike, yeah. I kind of that's a love-hate relationship as well.
It is a love-hate. It is. Like I hate sitting on that chair because like it's a killer. But like to get through it and then to be able to go on and like do a round afterwards, like it's great.
I started using the bike because we got him in the club before Germany. So that was kind of the first time I'd used the assault bike, and I felt it worked really well, and I felt like it did make a big difference to just fitness and energy levels, and again like it's something that you can see yourself progressing in. And then I had the summer off and all that, and I came back and I was like, all right, I'm going to start bringing in the assault bike. It's like, I'll start off easy, just maybe two full rounds on the assault bike. And
you're getting sick.
And I started off, and after 2 rounds on the first one, just like 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off. And I had done that twice in the first round, and I was like, oh my God, I totally forgotten how hard this was.
Yeah,
you forget your head.
You do, but it's like whole body tiredness though. Do you know when you're doing other things like the rower or different machines, like they're kind of like one part of your body. What I find with the assault bike is like overall, it's your breathing, it's your legs, your arms get tired. Like it's an overall thing. It's like
but you can feel I feel like you can even feel it's like you start struggling to breathe, and like your legs, it's like, well, I can't breathe because all the oxygen is going right there to my legs. It's like exactly what's happening. It's like, oh my God, like
I know, yeah.
That's it.
But I found it great for do you ever get when your legs are tired in a spar? I never get it in training, but I'll get it in a championships, that heavy deadness feeling in your legs. So I found the assault bike was great to kind of get that feeling. Again, it wasn't the exact same, but I found it was the only thing that could really get that feeling in my legs to simulate what I feel like in a championship. So it was good to kind of work through that, because that can be it's hard to push through when your legs are really tired and just dead heavy. So I found the assault bike really good for that.
It's like an energy or an adrenaline dump nearly. It's like,
it is.
I always find this nearly in the first match where that could happen. It's kind of, because you've all that built up nerves, and whether the first match we're going well or it's going bad, maybe you have to try and pull it back. And I find that where you feel.
I actually found it in my
third. You can nearly get that kind of second wind to some degree. But
I found it though. It happened to me in my semi-finals in Bosnia. Afterwards, I was just like, get me off this ring. My legs were just so heavy. So I don't know why. Maybe I was more nervous, or I don't know. But it happened there anyways.
Who did you fight in the semi-final?
Carolina from Poland.
Oh yeah,
Carolina Koniec.
So a tough fight, and maybe it kind of built up a small
tough fight. Yeah, I'd say so. So I found the assault bike great though, to just kind of get that feeling and then just try work through it.
Yeah, it's you get them shaky legs and you get off.
Yeah, just need to sit down.
Well, I find a couple of times even sitting down is I actually feel worse sitting down. It's it just need to.
Oh really?
Yeah, I find after a lot of even the repeat, sometimes I find if I sit down, it's I start to feel more tired. It's just keep moving and breathe, and I'll be okay.
I'll be okay. Yeah, that's what you're trying to tell yourself. Just keep breathing. You'll survive.
I find if I lie down early, it's everything just starts aching straight away. So
I get that feeling as well. Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, with the change in training, then obviously you ended up pushing on to win gold at Bulgaria. So that was the first time you won gold.
Yeah, that was my first senior gold. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, definitely. So I suppose I would have started doing a bit more one-on-ones with Paul, just myself, working on different things, and so that was my first one. That was a great one. Your first gold is always going to be a great one, isn't it? Especially at senior level, because it is different, it's completely different to your junior level. So I was absolutely delighted, especially because the European Championships before that I got silver. So I was so close that time, and then to go and win the next one, then that was great.
Yeah, it was the one in Finland then was so close as well. So
it was so close. Yeah, and then do you remember saying like, you know, that the Polish girl Lehane? So I bet her in the semi-finals in Finland. So I was like, oh God, I'm after doing that. I was like, no, I can go the whole way now. And actually, I was only having this conversation with Adam not so long ago. That, do you remember the finals night? I was in the finals night. And like, you know, I get very nervous all the time. So I was nervous before it, but like, you know, I wasn't really thinking about being on stage and everyone watching. And I was doing very well in the first round, halftime. Then I remember sitting down and I remember just going, oh God, like I'm on the finals night, like, you know, everybody's watching. And then I think it just got all a bit too much. Kind of lost concentration and
4-0 up as well, I think, weren't you, at the time?
Sorry?
I think you were 4-0 up as well, were you?
I think so, yeah. Like I was doing very well. I think
it wasn't like you were. I don't think you were like it was 4-0, but I think it wasn't like you were 5 or 6 points. It was like it was like 1 or 2 points on all 4 judges. Like it was close, but you had got 4 flags in your favor at the break.
Yeah, and normally, like, you know, if I'm sitting at the chair at halftime and 4 flags up, like, you know, you're like, oh, I got this, like, you know, it's grand. But I think it just all got too much. I was just like, oh my God, everybody's watching. And then obviously I didn't win that one, so that was very tough. So then to go on and win then in Bulgaria, that was great, because that was actually on a finals night again. So kind of I learned from my mistakes in Finland. It was just like, just concentrate on you, just block everything else out, and I did it. Now, you know, it was a close one again though, because it went into extra minute in Bulgaria, but I got there in the end.
Yeah, did you change much, like in between, like in terms of like waiting around and between the semi-final and final, like waiting for the finals night? Did you change anything from Finland to Bulgaria?
So in Finland, I can't remember, I do remember there's a few hours waiting, but I don't think an awful lot. So I think I just kind of waited in the arena. I was waiting in, do you remember the warm-up area, and there was beanbags and stuff, so I kind of chilled out there. But then in Bulgaria, I fought in the morning, and I just went back to my mom and dad's hotel was closest to ours, so I just went back to their room, had a shower, had a nap, kind of stayed away from the hall and everyone else until I needed to go back and warm up again. So I think that definitely did help. Like to be honest, I actually prefer to just go on and keep going. Like, you know, I hate pausing and then having to warm up again and do the whole lot. I rather just start and then finish. So yeah, I find it easier that way. But no, it definitely did help to just kind of go off by myself, block everything else out, and then just come back and just warm up and go.
Yeah. Like I know myself, and even like I said, I was talking to Isabel yesterday, and she kind of said the same, nearly, that not watching anything and getting caught up in the buzz is kind of, you know, that can distract you, and then you start putting it starts maybe putting a bit of doubt in your mind. It just starts to play with your mind a little bit, that, you know, you need to pull yourself away from it. And like the less Taekwondo you see, then the less you nearly think about it, and you think about just, well, one match and one opponent, and then you're much more focused then.
I think so, yeah.
Seeing what other people are doing, and like you said, and you hear the buzz of just around the arena, it can start to mess with your head a bit.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think just taking yourself out of it and just kind of chilling out, go for a nap, and then just come back to your thing. Especially, like, you know, when people are asking, oh, how'd you get on, and good luck for later, and there's so much things, and you start thinking like, oh God, like everybody knows, sort of thing. So yeah, I find it easier just to focus on me, go off to my thing, and then come back.
Yeah, I'd be the same. Like the day you're competing is like always, you have to be very selfish on the day you're fighting.
Yeah, you do. And you know what? I think like you have to be. You know, you do. Like you can't be worrying about other people. Now, of course, like, you know, when your friends are fighting or whatever, like, you know, I'll watch, but definitely I would say I'm quite selfish on the day I'm sparring, but like you need to be.
Watching somebody else isn't worth you losing in the first round. I don't think, you know.
No, definitely not. No, I 100% agree.
You've put in all the time, effort, money. So, and if not watching somebody is the difference potentially between winning the whole thing out and not,
then I'll do that.
Well, I'll give up, and, you know, maybe I'll catch it on YouTube. And oftentimes, like, you don't miss a whole lot. Like, even if there's a great fight in another division that maybe you want to see, it's like you probably didn't miss a whole lot. Maybe it was a great fight,
no,
but I'm sure you'll catch it up. Like,
but you know what? You never really enjoy them anyways. You know, if you're sparring that day, even like a fight could be an amazing fight right in front of you, but you're still thinking about you late, like, you know, you're competing later on, so you're not actually fully enjoying it anyway. So I'm like, I may as well just watch it on YouTube or video later.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah,
you know, I'm never actually enjoying anything. I'm too tense and too kind of nervous for myself to even enjoy someone else sparring. So
yeah, it always kind of pops into your head like that. Oh yeah, gee, I'm on in a couple of hours. I'm on 2 hours. I'm on. Gee, I better
yeah, it never leaves you really until you're done.
Will I watch this or will I go get my gear on?
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying I have to have everything planned out. Like I'm a little freak, but like I have to know exactly when I'm on, when I start warming up, where Paul is. I'm just like a little freak. I need to know all this. So yeah, constantly in the back of my mind, I'm like, what time is it? What time is it? Do I need to go? Do I need to go? Should I sit down? Do I need to drink more water? Like, it's just constant on the day of competing.
Yeah, I could sometimes you to say like to have the gear on nice and early, like just in case they call me now. Like,
yeah.
I know I'm not scheduled an hour, but what if it runs early, and what if they start calling?
I know.
Here and they like that. Yeah, like, where's Adrian? Okay, it's like oftentimes I'd say you're probably the same as like you're nearly looking at. Gee, not when they lose, like, but Jesus, like, will that match ever finish up there? So you can come over here.
I need them now, yeah. Waving your hand, you're like, over to me.
Yeah, to that, like, yeah, because like that, it's like that selfish thing that you have to have, I suppose. Yeah, you want.
It is everything for me, yeah.
Well, I'd probably say that then, like, probably the best day of so far anyway of competing was the Worlds in Ireland. Would you say?
Yes, that's 100% my favorite competition ever. CDUS is my favorite place in the world. Absolutely love that place. But it's funny that we're just talking about having being a control freak on the day of competing. Don't ask me how I did this, but they were in 2 sections. So I kept thinking I was in, I can't remember what it was, let's say section 1, and I thought I was on at like 20 to 2 or whatever time it was, I can't remember, but it was actually like 20 minutes earlier. So here's me warming up do you remember our little warm up area up in
I remember now. I was standing there and they started calling you, and then like,
oh my God. I was crying, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I'm not warmed up. That was insane. Yeah, I was just like panicked. So thank God that first round went well, because it could have went a completely different way. Because I wasn't calm and I wasn't. Sorry?
Who did you fight?
Germany. Okay, I don't know who, but it was Germany. I ended up winning quite well, so that kind of settled my nerves then. I was like, okay, look, there, you're grand now. But I was a mess before I went out onto the ring, because I was all over the shop. And then because I was so worked up, I was trying to warm up, but I couldn't because I was just so focused on not being warmed up. But look, it worked out well.
Yeah, I remember like Jenny was there trying to calm you down. So it was like,
yeah, it was having a full-on freak attack. And I don't even know how that happened, because I am such a control freak on the day of competing. I don't even know. But look, it all worked out, thank God.
Yeah, but like even then, I know we said like even with Jenny, like, did you find it hard not to watch the rest of the girls who were on the finals before you went on?
If I'm being honest, yeah. So if I'm being honest, I don't really remember even watching any of them. I went for between, like an hour or 2 hour break. So I went back to my hotel room and I had a nap for that. And then I just came when I needed to. So I actually don't remember watching any of the girls final. I did ask, I'd ask Paul, like, oh, how are they getting on? I remember seeing Louise. She was sitting in the warm-up area and I just kind of went over to her and she's like, oh, I'm in final. Like, I knew they were all doing great, but then that was kind of like, that was it really. I kind of asked how they got on, and then it was kind of like, okay, let's kind of focus on you now. Yeah. And then I was the last final, so I actually didn't see any of their finals at all on the day.
Yeah, it's probably best to just you maybe stayed away. Like, I know I would have struggled. Like, I was happy I went out second. I was like, Adam was like, it was kind of nearly, he's going to win. It's kind of, you nearly took that for granted.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to win, and then it was like, so I'm on next. Like, if I went last, I would have been thinking like, and the other 3 guys had won, and I was already thinking like, I can't be the only silver here. Like, so yeah. I got my one out of the way, and then let Ryan and Colm go at it.
Yeah, and I kind of remember if I did know or not, like if the girls won or not. I don't know if I did. I think I don't. Like, I don't remember. But kind of have a feeling I don't remember them like getting silver, which I find was good. Like, because, it was Maeve, Louise and Katie all got silver. So, yeah, if I heard that, I'd say in my head, I'd be like, oh God, like, I'm so close and blah, blah, blah. But no, I think it was better not to know and then just go out and do your own thing then.
Did you find it a bit weird fighting somebody from Ireland in the final?
Yeah, that was so strange, and especially because you're in the US as well. So like you're in Ireland, and then you're in the World Championships, but you're also fighting someone in the final that's from Ireland. So it was all a bit. It was very very strange, especially because like we would have sparred each other in the squad sessions, and then we would have been fighting each other in the national tournaments. So yeah, that was quite strange. Especially
Yeah.
because we know, like, not that we knew exactly how each other sparred, but like you have a good idea, like you know what each other do and stuff. So yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, well, like that, you both fought savage on the day. Like you and Ellen both fought class. Like, so then it was a shame like that. Somebody had to lose then, like on the.
I know, yeah, it's tough then, especially yeah, like with such a big competition, it's tough then that one of us won and then the other didn't. Like, especially like for everyone, like all the supporters, it's just like you want to be happy for one person, and it's also like like you have to feel sad for the other, but yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, I can't remember who I said it to, but I was like, if I could bottle up the feeling of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that kind of feel, if I could go back and like
I know.
bottle up 5 seconds, like that'd be the best 5 seconds. It's the best 5 seconds ever. Anytime I think about that, I just, it always brings a smile, like just that.
I know, it's insane. And especially because like you kind of know them, and in them 5 seconds I kind of knew like nothing, even if she got me with a headshot or blah blah blah, like it wasn't going to change, like I was winning regardless. So yeah, that was insane. And then to have everyone, as I said, like in Ireland, it was just bizarre. Like my family, but my mom and dad are at most of my competitions anyway, so that wasn't that strange. But my friends being there, that was the weirdest thing ever. My friends just being there. And one of the girls, I don't know if you remember, they made t-shirts. They had like these big
Oh
white
yeah,
t-shirts on, and then a picture of my face on it. So like winning, and then like being around Taekwondo people's normal. Then when I saw them, I was just like what is going on? Like it was insane.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, that's what I found. Like, yeah, I have it because my mum and dad wouldn't have been. That's been the only tournament they would have been to, and at the time it
Yeah.
would be the only one Jess had been to. So yeah, having them there was class. And then, but then even I was waiting to go on, and because the kind of the ring I was on was close to the door, I was seeing people from the club, like, so I was like, yeah, I was going, geez, well, like, geez, thanks for coming.
I know.
So then it was like, Jesus, I'm glad now I gave him something to watch, like, it was like
Something to watch. I know. Yeah.
weird, like, you're seeing blue belts and red belts, and even some of the other black belts, like just at a championships like
At
that.
it.
It was weird, yeah.
It was so weird. It really was. But I thought it was great because like, you come home from all these competitions and you're trying to tell them like, it was this and that. Like, no, my friends that say like, that they've never been to a big competition. So it was great that they actually got to experience like how big it was, what goes on, like, because like I've come home and I've like, I won this, I won that. And they're like, oh, well done. Like, but I don't know if they actually knew how big like it was.
Yeah.
Like you never actually know until you're there. So it was great for them to experience that. And then it was so weird. Do you remember the opening ceremony? Remember I had to do like the students' oath
Oh
on
yeah.
So that was also very bizarre. Like I was like, I'm on a stage in front of people doing this. But then afterwards my nana was there. I was like, what is my nana doing at the World Championships? Like, it was a bizarre time. But I wouldn't change any of it. It was amazing.
Which always even weird I found is that, like, because I got there a day earlier and it was helping set up. So it's like me and someone else, we put the rings together, and we stacked them up.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a weird thing as well. Even when I was like, geez, I was putting this ring together the other day. Like,
yeah. Because normally we just show up and everything's just done and that's it. Yeah.
I could see the hall when it was empty, and like I said, like the rings you saw on the floor, I was after help putting them together and stuff like that. And even I was, me and one of the guys in the club were helping putting the breakers together, the breaking machines. Yeah. So like that was all. It was just all a bit mad. Like
it was
like a day ago, this was completely different, and now it's something else completely different.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal when you look back. Like it was just like what, but winning at home, I think like nothing will ever beat that. Especially like first World Championships winning like that. Like nothing's ever going to beat that. I don't think. Well, for me, anyways.
Yeah. Like I know for me going into it, I nearly didn't. I tried not to think about it like winning in Ireland. So I was kind of thinking, sure, what's the difference? Sure, if I don't win this time, sure, what's the difference if I win at the next one? It's like it's still one world champion. You're still only like we'll say one time champion. It's still one gold medal. Like you're still world champion. It doesn't really matter where you win it or like, to everybody else. It's nearly only to people from Ireland or whatever country that's in. that winning there means more. And I tried to
I think so too, yeah.
nearly get myself out of that, and I think that helped. But now the fact I did when I look back is like, no, I couldn't have picked a better place to win than.
No, that's it. If you wanted to win anywhere, it would have to be at home.
Yeah. And it was like you got to be part of the team then as well. That was that
was insane as well. Like that whole week. Now obviously on Saturday Jenny only getting the bronze, that was tough. So Jen's my sister, that was tough. But then winning the team on Sunday, that was on another level then. And then the men winning straight after us. Like that was just some buzz. That was incredible. Like I love looking at the pictures, when we're all on the stage together.
Yeah.
I love that picture. Yeah, that was just crazy.
Yeah, but like you say, it's class to see like the senior, because when you would have been junior, there wasn't really a senior female team. It was like you're lucky to get a team together. So then to go got to the final of the Euros before that, and then go to win the Worlds and win the Euros and that, and I win the Euros again. So like it's kind of class.
Yes, we've been on a good roll.
Yeah, it was like to go from barely not having a team to being one of the best teams is something.
I know it really, really is, because we got to the final in Finland, wasn't it? And I'm not sure if that was the first time, but I feel like that might have been the first time that like an Irish senior female team got to a final. And we're actually very close. Well, not very close. I think it was like 4 flags in it, but it was close enough against Poland. And then to go off and win then in the Worlds later on that year, that was just incredible. And then, as I said, then we've won the next
and to
few.
Be Poland in the final as well.
And to which, sorry?
And to be Poland in the final.
Yeah, that was great, because they only bet us a few months beforehand. So we've come a long way. And you know what's great as well, like most of us are from the same club, so it's incredible that like we get to train each other all the time, so like we know how much effort each of us are putting in. So yeah, that was special.
Yeah, but even like that was probably the first one where there was like competition for places on the team. Like nearly it was like, well, the senior team there's 5 or there's 6, so it's like, well, there's enough for a team. That was it. But like Worlds in Ireland was the first time where some people
they had to choose. Yeah
would have been good enough to have on the team and good people to have on the team, but like that they had to choose. They had extra people. Some people didn't get part of the 5 or the 6, so but I think it actually that helped like massively in trying to win.
Do you know, actually, so the Europeans this year, we actually weren't meant to have a senior female team because there's not enough of us, but hopefully next year there'll be enough of us again. So hopefully, so it's devastating only going over for individual sparring. Like, I love the team sparring, so it's going to be very hard this year going over without a team. But I think next year now, hopefully next year, we'll have a team. So that's great.
Yeah, because like that the people are there, like the good people are there. It's just this year kind of just didn't work out with other commitments really.
Yeah, lots of leaving certs and just different stuff going on. So that was going to be hard, but look, we'll have one next year. Hopefully be on top again.
That's going for €3 in a row then, is it?
€3 in a row, yeah. That's the plan.
Well, you've done that individual, like, so that's pretty.
Say that again, sorry?
You've managed to do it with individual, so.
I did, yeah. So the team, it's manageable then with the team.
But was winning 3 in a row something you were thinking about after like going into the last Euros?
Yeah, so obviously when the first one was like, oh my God, I'm after winning, and then from that time when I've won, it's kind of like every time I'm going into competition now, it's like, well, sorry, you've done it before, like, you can do it again, like, you can keep doing it. So I won in Bulgaria, then I won in Slovenia, and then Bosnia. But then remember the World Championships in Germany, they obviously didn't go to plan for me. So like Bosnia, not that it was tough. It wasn't like, I knew I could, but I kind of had maybe a bit more nerves, maybe just from going from losing, and not just losing, like, I lost first round in Germany. So it was tough. So, but one thing I learned is that, like, the hunger's still there, that like I lost in Germany, but like, the will to win was still 100% there. So I knew that if I just trained as hard as I could and did everything I can, that like, I'll be back on top again. And thank God I was. So, yeah.
Did you change, like, again, was it much a change in training, or was it much maybe in a change in mindset from like, did it really change from Germany to Bosnia?
Yeah, so definitely between Germany and Bosnia, like, you know, I changed a lot. I just kind of went back to basics and I just focused on me. Like, you know, for Germany, I think I overthought things. Like, you know, if I overthink, I just, like, you know, I block out other things. So, like, you know, when I was fighting, like, you know, I was waiting for these like specific techniques that she'd be doing, and then, like, you know, I was missing everything else that she was doing. Like, so any mistake she was making, I wasn't punishing them because I was focusing on, like, you know, waiting for one or two things. And also I just didn't spare the best. So after Germany, I kind of just was like, okay, we need to just go back to basics, focus on me, what I want to do, and just that's what we did. We just kind of worked on going forward and just going back to simpler techniques, like, you know, things that are going to work and that have always worked for me. But obviously, like, you know, adapting and changing always, but just taking it back to just not overthinking and just going out and fight how I fight. And then it definitely helped. Yeah, for sure.
Did you feel any, like, going into the Worlds in Germany, did you feel maybe any extra pressure, like having won the Worlds in Ireland and then you had 1 to 2 Euros? Did you feel like any pressure going in, like, as somebody is, like, is expected to perform?
Like, I wouldn't say a lot of pressure. Like, the most, like, the pressure that that's on me is always from myself. So I suppose I did and I didn't. Like, anytime I go into competition, like, you know, there's always going to be a bit of pressure from winning. But I don't think it was any more than before. I don't really know. I didn't spar great on the day. It just wasn't meant to be, really. Yeah, no, like, the same amount of pressure is always on, I think. It was just not a great tournament for me, that one.
Yeah, but like that, it wasn't. And I think sometimes you need to nearly put it into perspective as, like, who did you lose to as well? Like, he's like, you didn't lose to somebody who was
No,
bad.
I didn't. No, yeah.
I think, like, I've had a couple of times where it's like I've lost the guys who are world and European champions, and you look at, well, like, I suppose, like, if you're going to lose to somebody, like, maybe it's not the worst person. So it's like they have some pedigree there that, like, they're good enough to go in and win tournaments. It's sometimes, though, if you lose to the people who then, like, they get to a bronze medal and they're just happy with winning bronze or something like that, you're kind of like, oh, well, I shouldn't.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
And that's kind of a different feeling then to ones where you've lost.
For sure. But all the girls there on the podium, I'd bet them all before, so it was heartbreaking. Like, you know, it was devastating. I did find it very hard. Like, you know, for weeks after, like, you know, I was still crying, and, like, it was a very tough time. But because I knew I'd bet them all before, I was just like, look, this is one time. It just wasn't meant to be for me on that day. But I was like, no, look, I'll be back and better.
Yeah, so. I had that, looking back on, like, for me, like, Finland didn't really go to plan. But,
no, yeah.
And I was only saying I can't remember exactly what I was saying at the last squad session, but since I lost in Finland, I've since beaten all the guys I would have had to beat to win the tournament.
Oh, yeah?
I would have had to fight second, third, fourth. I've beaten them all since. So I do kind of look back on that one and kind of think, if I could have just put all that together on that day, it's like there could be another.
I know it could have been, but you know, I think you learn so much. Like, although I absolutely hate losing, I'm sure everybody does, like, you know, and I found it very hard, but I definitely gained and learned so much from that loss than I probably would have if I won.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, taking a positive out of it. So, yeah.
Like, yeah, but do you think it helped, like, that maybe not now, but maybe start taking winning for granted to some degree, and then maybe the loss, like you said, it really, you know, kind of fired up the hunger a bit again to push on and win again.
Do you know, I don't actually think I take winning for granted. Like, every time I win, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, no, I don't actually think I do, but definitely I took the loss very hard. Very, very hard. Because, like, I hadn't lost in so long. Like, at a championship level, I hadn't lost so long. So, yeah, it was quite difficult. And, like, you know, for weeks after, I was, like, still crying. It was really, really hard. But definitely, as you said, though, like, the hunger to win was 100% still there. It really, really was. So, if anything, yeah, I learned that, like, you know, I'm still hungry to win.
Yeah, always if you haven't won after the championships, there's always a little bit of you have the post-championship blues, and if I haven't won, like, there's a mourning period, like, you know.
That's it. Like, you know, competition blues when you've won, they're actually not that bad. Like, you know, you're like, back to normal life, but I won, I have a gold medal. And then when you lose and you have competition blues, it's like, oh my God, like, going back to just normal life it's hard, you know, when you just want to kind of just stay at home. And I'm very lucky to have, like, you know, my two sisters on the Irish team. Like, you know, I said my mom and dad have gone away, so like I'm very lucky at home that they understand. But you know, when you go back to, like, you know, I went back to work after Germany, I was like, no one knows how I feel right now. Like, they know I've lost, but it was just like, it was so hard just to go back to normal life. But well, another thing I actually learned as well with Germany is how important rest is. That's another thing that is huge, because I had a lot going on before Germany. I was doing a lot of things. Like, I had pyrite in my house, we had to move house. Then I had I was repeating the Leaving Cert, Irish. Then I had was working full time, teaching and training. So a lot was going on. And then compared to Bosnia, then when I was in my degree, so I wasn't working full time anymore. And, like, you know, I was back to just regular being in my house, whatever. So I had much more time to rest. And I definitely found the benefits from that. So that's one thing that I've 100% learned, is rest is key.
Yeah, it's when I hung on. I don't know if you saw it, would have had on the TKD journal yesterday, the day before. One of the things, like, before Bosnia that he kind of really made sure to stick to was to make sure he took a rest day, and that he stuck to it. So
yeah,
and obviously it worked for him there as well. So
yeah, that's it. And not just even in your training, but just rest overall. Like, you just need a bit of time out. So that's one thing that, yeah, definitely have learned, is just taking a break from everything that you need, even if it's just one day a week. Like, you know, work's magic.
And do you think going to the Solvay summer camp has helped much? Because you seem to have, like,
yeah, I've gone there 3 times.
You seem to have done quite well after going as well.
Yeah, I love that camp now. It's so hard. It's very, very tough. Like, you know, you're going up into the mountains, and, like, you're running up a mountain every day. Then you're training 2 more times every day. So it's very, very tough, like, mentally as well. But yeah, I definitely do think, like, you know, it's helped. Anyway, like, it's definitely started off my, like, training camps for competitions. Like, you know, before Bosnia, I went to Ukraine for the camp, and it definitely just got the ball rolling. Like, you know, sparring every day, doing your techniques, just getting fitter. So yeah, definitely it does help. Again, like, it's not very individualized, like, you know, because you're doing, like, the classes, but it's definitely just a great way to just get everything going, and just 100%.
Yeah. So do you find, like, it's maybe not like your sharpest sparring rounds, but it starts to
No,
like you said, just gets the ball rolling early.
that's it. Like, you know, if you saw me sparring in Ukraine and then compared to Bosnia, it's like a different person. But no, yeah, you know, it's great to get the different spars, because you're sparring in different countries. Like, you know, in Ireland, like, you know, you only have people they spar at squads or in your club. So it's great then to go away and then, like, you know, sparring all the different girls and guys from all different countries. So yeah, for sure, it's great.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen this year.
No, not this year. I actually wasn't planning on going this year anyways, because it was meant to be in the Gaeltacht for college, but that's also not happening. So nothing's happening this year, basically. All boring.
You can still go running around the Gaeltacht.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quite the Carpathian Mountains, like, but
I absolutely hate running. That's another thing at the moment. Like, so, like, I hate running, but I'll do it before championships, because, like, you know, it's like, this will help me, and, like, you know, like, just think of the end goal is, like, okay, winning. And now I'm going on runs, and I'm like, Sarah, what are you even running for? Like, you know, there's no end goal at the moment. I'm just running. I just hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't run. I refuse
Do
to run.
No, I do a little bit, but
if there's food, I'll run.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm running so I can go home and bake and cook and then just eat. Basically what's happening.
Like, run. Give me the bike, give me the rower, give me a bit of skipping, give me anything like that, and hitting pads, something that way. But running is just,
it's very boring, isn't it? I just find it so boring.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like how my body feels after it, like the next day.
I feel great after it, but, like, in it, and, you know, they're not even that hard. It's just like, what am I running for? Is what I just say to myself, basically. Like, I'm not even running away from anyone. I'm just running.
Yeah. More than likely in circles.
Yeah, loops. 2 kilometer loops.
So do you find that, like I said, there wasn't many senior females when you would have been junior? Did you ever?
Yeah.
How did you ever find that, like coming up through the grades and coming up through the years, like was there many girls training? And
when I was younger, like there wasn't an awful lot. No, there might have been like a small group of us, very small, 2 or 3 maybe. But I never actually thought about it too much. Like it was kind of just like there was lots. Like there was Luke Woods, there was Darren and Ross Smith, like the Smullins. There was so many of them that were in the club that I kind of looked up to as I was growing up. There was a few older girls, but again, they would have been a good bit older than me, so I never really got to know them, and then they kind of dropped off as they came into teenage years. But I don't think it really affected how I thought about continuing the sport. I think it was just kind of just keep going, and I think I just wanted to win for me, sort of thing. But yeah, compared to the girls that are in the club now, especially my training group, it's insane. I do know, Katie and Naomi came up from Cork, and then Louise came from Limerick, so they did come from all other areas from Ireland. But the training group that I've had over the last few years is crazy. The level of girls is crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that helps though, like having that kind of group nearly makes training the kind of more enjoyable to some degree? Like it's
100%. Definitely having them around. We always have a laugh at the training, which I do think is very important. You need to be able to enjoy the training as well as work hard, which we always have a laugh, which is great. And then because everyone's so talented and so good that we push each other on. We're also so competitive that none of us want to let each other get a headshot or score that. So it's great that we're all so competitive that we push each other on, and then by doing that everyone's just getting so much better. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think it's oftentimes in sports, especially where it's kind of mixed and we'd be trying together, you see sometimes maybe the girls can look around and go, oh, maybe there's only 2 girls here, and I don't think I'm going to keep going. I don't think I want to do that anymore, just because there isn't as many girls as boys in the class. And sometimes I think sometimes it does affect kids, maybe not at the very younger ages, but I think you start to get to a certain age where you're kind of you just don't want to be around all the boys nearly,
Yeah, I can see that as well. I do know when I first started to become senior, so maybe around 17, 18, Jenny and all, they were still quite, Jenny and Maeve, they would have been younger. And then Kate, Naomi and Louise hadn't come up to the club yet. So I kind of was by myself at that point. And I do remember once or twice being I have to go up. But it wasn't more so that was boys. It was kind of they're the senior men. So I have to go up and train for senior men. So I did, a few times would have been a bit tough. But no, I think it's great. And especially now, it's not so male dominant anymore. The females in the sport is huge. And then I think because we have such a huge female training group now in the moment at our club, at least the girls in our club have something to look up to, and they're well, look, they're still there now. And well, I'm hoping so anyways, that they'll stick with it, the junior girls.
Yeah, so if we were going to get back to number one in the world, we need a full team of everybody.
We need them. Yeah, we do. But it's great. I'd say our club's nearly 50-50 with male to females. So that's great to see.
Yeah, we're close to same. We had nearly all, pretty much everybody we had starting in September in kind of the 10-year-old 10 to 13 age group was nearly all girls. There was some boys. Yeah, there were some boys, and then they stopped training fairly fast. Didn't hack it, and it's been the girls around. So there was maybe 8 or 9 girls started, and then maybe I think 5 boys, and now there's 2 boys have stayed on training, and then all the girls have stayed. So
that's very unusual though, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been.
The boys to drop off, yeah.
But again, I think they're all the same age and stuff. The fact they're all there together, I think, has helped.
Yeah,
that's helping.
Definitely. Yeah, they need something to go up to. Yeah. As I said, younger, when they're younger, they don't realize, they're just going up and there's just loads of friends there. But yeah, as they grow up, I suppose girls do like to have other girls there to train with. But then, it's great with the sparring, especially for myself anyways, I love sparring the boys. So you don't just need girls to improve and to go to training. So it is great that there is such a mix.
Yeah, well, I think like even like when you go to like you said, the senior female team is pretty much all training in the same club. So like when you go to squad sessions, it's you can train with the same people that you do in the club, or you can jump in with some of the guys and try to get something out of that.
100%. Yeah. I think that's so important. Like, you know, you have them, the people in your club, like you have them all week long. Like, you know, you may as well, like when we do a squad session, we only have 6 squad sessions, so you may as well make the most of them and push yourself as hard as you can with anyone that's there. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, even I think like that recently, because like the senior females are jumping around looking for different matches that isn't amongst themselves. Even the junior girls then are getting to jump in with some of the more experienced people. So I think that's helping them as well.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, once they see what, like, you know, the older guys will do, hopefully then they'll copy. And yeah,
and even hopefully they might look and go, that person isn't that much better than me, you know. That's
it.
That's generally hoping, like that some of the juniors can look and go, you know what, actually I could get to that level, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Most of the time it's in your own mind, isn't it? That you're like, oh no, I couldn't spar them, or no, like, no, they'll kick me around the place. But once you do, you realize, you know, actually they're not that bad.
Yeah, I have to see it. Like you jump in with some of the younger people, and you can see straight away like they don't spar like they would if it was against a junior. And like it's good that maybe they have that kind of, I don't know, maybe respect there. But then you're kind of like, I'm not like,
hit me.
I'm not. But also like, I'm not a prick. Like I'm not going to
smash you. Like, not going to knock you out.
Yeah, I'm going to hit you. Like you'll know me. Like, you know, I'll hit you, but it's like I don't like want to leave you in bits on the floor. Like it's like,
that's it. Yeah.
It's like, it'd be better.
We do that sometimes in River Valley. So, like, you know, obviously we have our own. We split the class into 2, so like, you know, seniors and the other guys. But then sometimes at the end of the session, like, you know, Paul would be like, okay, grab a junior, like small junior, and we'll spar them. So I think that's great to get them to spar, because, like, you know, in their little heads, like, you know, they might be like, oh God, world and European champions and blah blah blah. But for them to be able to spar and then obviously, like, you know, maybe score a few points, I think that's great. So it's a good laugh as well. I think it's good to have something like that in your club.
And even sometimes if the only thing they take away from it is, well, I didn't get hurt there. Like, well, I suppose, look,
that's it. Yeah.
That's a plus to start with. And then, like you said, yeah, maybe they might start scoring a few points, and then they can build that way.
But yeah.
I don't think. I think we might wrap it up there, actually.
Great.
I don't think there's a whole lot more that I had written down that we could talk about. I think we kind of got through everything, and you've done fairly all right. There was no need to be too nervous.
I'm shitting myself.
It's been I've really enjoyed the chat. Like, it's been really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, and
no problem.
We'll be back training and fighting soon.
Soon enough, let's hope.
Back on top. All the best.
Bye bye.